DC education officials today are lauding a February report from the College Board, which shows the percentage of students passing an advanced placement exam has grown more over the past 5 years in the district than in any state. But tell that to the kids at Washington Metropolitan School in Northeast, which will be shuttered in May because the city cited poor academic performance. Tell that to Lyric Johnson, who will be part of Washington Met's last graduating class now that the haven for second and third chance teens, most of whom have been either kicked out of other schools or socially promoted without enough academic credit, will be closed. Quote, "We decided even if we're kind of mad, even if we're kind of startled, we decided to make the best out of nothing," Lyric told me. 20% of district students passed an AP exam 5 years just after 12% of students passed it, the College Board report shows. What it doesn't show, not one of those students from Washington Met passed that exam or even took it. Hard off Bryan Avenue near Howard University, it's a traditional public school without the resources of places like Benjamin Banneker High and School Without Walls, where hundreds of kids took and passed the exam. Or check Dunbar High, where just one of the 127 students who took an exam passed it. The good news? More kids are taking a college-level test all over the district, being exposed to the kind of rigorous academic standards expected in college. The sobering news? I see that happen only if you're at a certain kind of school in a certain kind of neighborhood. The hard truth? Educational inequity still hovers over this city like a black cloud. Till all kids have the same chance to continue their schooling, these numbers only serve to make school superintendents feel better about the city's most prosperous schools, while shuttering Washington Met and leaving hundreds of students searching for their next classroom. I'm Mike Wise. Agree or disagree, I'd love to hear your opinion. You can email me at mwise@wsa9.com, tweet me at MikeWiseGuy, or hit up the show with any question by writing to the Q&A at WUSA9.com.